Hey guys, it's your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great commentary. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but Brian got just dominated on a recent podcast. So he brings this, normal girls he brings on. By the way, it seems like the girls on the podcast are getting less attractive. They're down at like fresh and fit tier level. Although it's like a slightly different type. They're not, like Fresh and Fit brings a lot of like hood rat types, who are never seem to never be on Whatever. There's more, these Whatever girls are more, plastic bimbo types. But anyway, you guys can go look up the clip if you're interested, or like to see like the whole exchange before the clip. And basically, it starts off because he's given some red pill shit about how his previous girlfriend of 5 years, he said he only paid for dinner for her 2 times in the whole 5 years. And, which is, not even probably worth talking about, right? Because we've been over it before, as, Brian being Brian. So this one girl there who's on the thing responds, and she says, she's like, well, okay, then I go, well, she must have been either fat or ugly or something like that. Or like, was she fat or ugly? I don't remember. Uggo, fatto or something. She said something like that. And Brian got triggered as fuck. He got really triggered. And he even said like, so he wouldn't let the subject go. He kept on it. He kept on it. And then one of the other girls there is like, the other girls there follows up with like, well, was she a fatto or an uggo? And he continues to say, no, she wasn't. He says it several times that she wasn't. And they're like, well, okay, well, let's see her picture. Let's see her picture. So, people are talking about it. Is it that she actually was fat and ugly and he didn't want to pull it up and that's what he got called out? I don't know. I don't know. He was adamant that she wasn't. Brian is, especially 5 years ago or however long ago it was, Brian's got some money. He's got some status. He's tall. And he's, an okay looking guy. I don't think he's great looking, but he's an okay looking guy with really good hair. It's hard for me to believe that he'd be with a fat or unattractive girl. On the other hand, his personality is so terrible that maybe, maybe, I don't know. I really don't. So I don't know if it was just that he felt like he just couldn't in good conscience show her picture, or if it was like, or if it was more that, or maybe even like he'd be worried about legal troubles if he showed her picture. Although if you think then he would have said something about it. But, or maybe she is just like really, I don't know if fat and ugly, but maybe she was really mid and he's embarrassed about that. I don't know. But anyway, the thing is, that's not really the point. Well, the point is that you can go watch the exchange, and the girl who's arguing, it's kind of 2 girls, but it's one girl mainly. She completely dominates it. She clearly wins the exchange. She's got Brian basically saying, well, she was like, he first starts off when he's getting back into it with her. She was like, I'm joking. I was joking. And then he's like, well, did you or did you not use the words fatto and ugly? And she said, yes, I did. And then and I stand by that. And then there's just like this silence as like Brian's like, well, don't you think it's rude to say that? It's like, okay, well, yes, I agree. That's rude. Or it can be. However, her side of the story is she was doing it in the context of a joke. I didn't actually see the exact part. It sounds like she was basically just joking. And I think we can show a thicker skin about that. She wasn't saying she was asking a question. Like, why is it such a touchy issue? Even if she was really a fatto or uggo. Like, the thing is, because that's the way that he reacts so, like, butthurt about it. That does make me think, like, well, maybe she is. Nothing wrong with being unattractive. It would just make, like, Brian's obviously the one, if that's the case, that Brian's the one who's ashamed of it. But he was but then like the real issue though is for him to go hide behind don't you think that's rude? It's like, yeah, but you're rude all the time. So I mean, you're rude in kind of like a passive aggressive way to like hide how rude you're being, but you are rude and aggressive and bullying and that stuff. And now you want to fall back on good manners when your entire show is really about humiliating the women who come on it. And you can say that maybe there's a little bit more to it. It's not Fresh and Fit level, but it's a big part of it. It's a big part of what you do. So for you to, it wouldn't be a justification for rudeness, but that defense, like, from you, that's not an acceptable response. You just are like those who, like Tony Soprano says, those who want respect give respect. And if you're not going to treat people with respect, no, it doesn't relieve them of their obligation to be respectful towards you. It does, however, remove your ability to complain when they aren't. And so yeah, I mean that's that first part. But another thing is, like, I don't think it is rude, because it seems to me like the dynamic of it is she was joking. And she even goes on to say, she's like, I like to joke. I like to joke around. That's how I talk. And, if I'm not going to be here to like tell jokes or to like make this a fun conversation, then why am I even here? Good question. And he didn't seem to have much of an answer of it. So then he gets back on it again, at her back. And she said, look, I was ready to move on from this 10 minutes ago. And then he goes, yeah, well, it's not your podcast. And then she goes, all right, well then, I'm done. I just don't have anything else to say. And, and again, you see like Brian, so triggered, doesn't know what to say. He's out of his book. And, it was embarrassing for him. It's embarrassing for him. I'm not sure if I guess I found the whole thing sort of entertaining. I don't really have anything against Brian. So I wouldn't say, I don't take any kind of like, what is it, schadenfreude or whatever, the like pleasure in seeing him humiliated, but absolutely he had it coming. And, it's like the issue that like, with these guys, and it's really the whole manosphere has made, most men are not in the manosphere. They're not like, they don't believe the manosphere bullshit and stuff. But the manosphere has made me just think less of men as a group, because what you'll see is like these manosphere guys are just kind of like an exaggerated version of all like the bad male characteristics. And one thing that you'll notice this about these guys is that like a lot of men's advantage over women in the world comes from superior size and strength. And then when you see a man who can't use that anymore, when a man's in a situation where he can't hide behind his strength and size advantage, he will often just completely fall apart. And nobody demonstrate this better than Myron, now Brian, Rollo. These types of guys, when they can't either use physical force or use the implied threat of physical force, they just completely disintegrate. Because they're so mentally weak and so fragile. I'm not saying every man is mentally weak and fragile, but a lot, and there are mentally weak and fragile women too. So I'm not trying to say that all men are like Brian, but I think there's maybe a little bit of Brian in most men, and it's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. The manosphere did convince me that women are better than men. I don't see how you can watch the manosphere and not think that women are better. Again, I agree, women suck. They're nothing special, but men are clearly worse. And it's the stuff, and it's the weakness that bothers me the most. That's why these guys are just so weak. Yeah, I guess I don't really have anything to add. That's all for now. See you in the next.